Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. General Hospital spoilers. Morgan visits Sonny from beyond the grave, warns Dad not to trust Ava. General Hospital, spoilers reveal that Sonny Corinthos, Morris Bernard, desperately needs someone to put the clues together and expose his altered medication dosage. Ava Jerome, Mora West, knows Sonny isn't getting the right amount of his meds, but she's keeping that news to herself for now. There's been a lot of talk about Morgan Corinthos, Brian Craig, return to the show, but nothing's been confirmed when it comes to Craig's status or how long he'll be back for. Although it's possible he will undo Morgan's demise, there could be another explanation for Morgan's upcoming appearance. What if Morgan just pops up for an episode or two, perhaps in the form of a dream or vision? If that's the case, Morgan might visit Sonny from beyond the grave and give his dad a warning not to trust Ava. Maybe Morgan could remind Sonny that Ava tampered with his own meds once upon a time and insists she doesn't have Sonny's best interests at heart. Of course, Valentin Cassadine, James Patrick Stewart, is the one who made sure Sonny's prescription was messed with. But that doesn't absolve Ava of guilt since she's been hiding the lab test results. Morgan could appear to Sonny and make some cryptic comments that leave his dad suspicious of Ava regardless. Since Morgan also suffered from bipolar disorder, it'd be fitting for him to be the one to reach out and help Sonny in his time of need. There's the potential for some special father-son moments if this is what Morgan's return is essentially about. Naturally, it's also possible Morgan will haunt Ava while he's around. It's hard to imagine passing up the chance to spook Ava a bit with a Morgan nightmare or vision of her own, so that's another option to consider here. Some fans are clinging to hope that Morgan is still alive in a shocking twist, but there's no denying that it'd be easier to explain his reappearance if he shows up in dreams or hallucinations. Based on our predictions, Morgan's going to shake things up no matter what, so don't miss what's in store. General Hospital spoilers say there'll be more Morgan info to report as his return air date gets closer, so we'll give you updates on all the details. In the heart of Port Charles, the wind whispered through the ancient oak trees, carrying with it the scent of the sea and secrets untold. General Hospital was bustling with the usual controlled chaos, nurses darting in and out of rooms, doctors consulting in hushed tones, and patients navigating the delicate balance between hope and despair. But on this particular day, something far more ethereal was at play, something that transcended the earthly realm. Sonny Corinthos, the formidable mob boss with a heart of gold, had been feeling a strange presence around him for days. It started as a fleeting sensation, a chill that ran down his spine, a soft echo of a voice he knew all too well, but couldn't quite place. At first, he dismissed it as stress or fatigue, the byproducts of his relentless life. But the feeling persisted, growing stronger with each passing day. Late one night, as the moon cast an eerie glow over the waterfront, Sonny found himself standing alone on the pier, his mind lost in a whirlwind of memories. The sound of the waves crashing against the shore was almost hypnotic, and for a moment, he allowed himself to relax. Suddenly, the temperature dropped, and a dense fog rolled in, cloaking the world in a thick, impenetrable mist. Through the fog, a figure emerged. At first, it was just a shadow, a faint outline barely discernible against the misty backdrop. But as it drew closer, Sonny's heart began to race. His breath caught in his throat, and his eyes widened in disbelief. It was Morgan, his son, who had been tragically taken from him, stood before him, looking just as he had in life. "Dad," Morgan's voice was a mere whisper, carried by the wind but clear and unmistakable. Sonny's heart pounded in his chest. "Morgan, is it really you?" His voice trembled with a mixture of fear, hope, and sorrow. Morgan nodded, his eyes filled with an otherworldly light. "I don't have much time, Dad. I came to warn you." Sonny stepped forward, reaching out as if to touch his son, but his hand passed through the apparition, meeting only the cold, damp air. "Warn me about what? What's going on?" Morgan's expression grew somber. "Ava, you can't trust her, Dad. She's hiding something dangerous. She'll betray you when you least expect it." Sonny's brow furrowed. Ava Jerome was a constant thorn in his side, a woman whose loyalty was as fickle as the wind. But this warning, coming from his deceased son, carried a weight that was impossible to ignore. "But why? What's she planning?" Sonny demanded, his protective instincts flaring. Morgan shook his head. "I don't know all the details, but she's in deeper than you think. She's playing a dangerous game, and you're right in the middle of it." As quickly as he had appeared, Morgan began to fade, the fog swallowing his form once more. "Be careful, Dad. I love you." "No, wait, Morgan." Sonny's cry echoed across the pier, but the apparition was gone, leaving him alone with the crashing waves and his racing thoughts. Back at General Hospital, Carly Corinthos was having a restless night of her own. She had been feeling a strange sense of unease all day, a mother's intuition that something was amiss. As she wandered the quiet halls of the hospital, she bumped into Ava, who was emerging from a late-night visit with her daughter Avery. "Carly," Ava acknowledged her with a nod, her tone cordial but strained. "Ava," Carly replied, her eyes narrowing slightly. "What are you doing here so late?" "Avery had a bad dream, and I wanted to be here for her," Ava explained, her eyes flickering with a hint of something unreadable. Carly's instincts were on high alert. There was something off about Ava's demeanor, a nervousness that didn't quite fit. "Is everything okay?" "Of course," Ava said quickly, too quickly. "Just the usual stresses. You know how it is." Carly nodded, but the unease remained. She watched as Ava hurried down the hall, her steps brisk and her shoulders tense. There was more to Ava's visit than she was letting on, and Carly intended to find out what. The following day, Sonny couldn't shake the memory of his encounter with Morgan. He knew he had to take the warning seriously, but he needed more information. He decided to confide in Jason Morgan, his trusted right-hand man and longtime friend. "Jason," Sonny began, his voice low and urgent. "I saw Morgan last night." Jason's eyes widened. "What do you mean, you saw him?" I saw him, Jason. He was there on the pier. He warned me about Ava." Jason's expression turned serious. He knew better than to dismiss such experiences, especially given the dangerous world they lived in. "What did he say?" "He said Ava can't be trusted, that she's hiding something dangerous," Sonny explained. "I don't know what it is, but we need to find out." Jason nodded. "I'll start looking into it. If Ava's up to something, we'll find out." As Jason set his plan into motion, Ava was growing increasingly anxious. She had been playing a high-stakes game, trying to navigate the treacherous waters of the mob world while protecting her own interests. But now it seemed like the walls were closing in. The pressure was mounting, and she knew it was only a matter of time before her secrets were exposed. Meanwhile, Sonny couldn't help but feel a mix of emotions. The encounter with Morgan had brought back a flood of memories, both joyful and painful. He missed his son deeply, and the warning had left him on edge. But it also gave him a renewed sense of purpose. He had to protect his family, no matter the cost. Days turned into weeks, and the tension in Port Charles continued to build. Sonny and Jason's investigation led them down a dark and twisting path, uncovering a web of deceit that extended far beyond what they had initially suspected. Ava's involvement was deeper and more sinister than they had imagined, and the stakes were higher than ever. As the truth came to light, Sonny found himself standing at a crossroads. The warning from beyond the grave had given him the insight he needed, but it also placed a heavy burden on his shoulders. He had to make a choice, one that could alter the course of his life and the lives of those he loved. In the end, Sonny chose to confront Ava directly. The confrontation was intense, emotions running high as secrets were laid bare and truths were revealed. Ava's betrayal cut deep, but it also brought a sense of clarity. Sonny knew what he had to do to protect his family and his empire. As he stood on the pier once more, the fog rolling in just like that fateful night, Sonny felt a presence beside him. He couldn't see Morgan, but he felt him, a comforting warmth in the midst of the cold. "Thank you, Morgan," Sonny whispered, his voice carried by the wind. "I'll always love you, son." And as the first light of dawn broke through the mist, Sonny knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, he had the strength and the resolve to face them, guided by the love and wisdom of those who had gone before him.